Hare Krishna, good morning.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Let me know if you can hear me clearly.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji, we can hear you.
Okay. So, we are in the Canto 4 of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, chapter number 16. We are discussing the glories of King Prithu. And before we proceed to discuss the subject matter in further detail, I appreciate if someone would like to read the translation text that you are seeing on the screen. Partha Prabhu, would you like to read?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, you might know that 3 times we offer or recite the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Praise of King Prithus by the professional reciters. The great sage Maitreya continued, while King Prithu thus spoke, the humility of his nectarian speeches pleases the reciters very much. Then again they continued to praise the king highly with exalted prayers, as they had been instructed by the great sages. The reciter continued, Dear King, you are a great incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, and by his causeless mercy, you have descended to this earth. Therefore, it is not possible for us to actually glorify your exalted activities. Although you have appeared through the body of King Veena, even great orator and speakers like Lord Brahma and other demigods cannot exactly describe the glorious activities of your lordship. Although we are unable to glorify you adequately, we nonetheless have a transcendental taste for glorifying your activities. We shall try to glorify you according to the instruction received from authoritative sages and scholars. Whatever we speak, however, is always inadequate and very insignificant. Dear King, because you are a direct incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, all your activities are liberal and ever laudable. This King Maharaja Pithu is the best among those who are following religious principles. As such, he will engage everyone in the pursuit of religious principle and give those principles all protections. He will also be a great chastier to the irreligious and atheistic. This king alone in his own body will be able in due course of time to maintain all living entities and keep them in a pleasant condition by manifesting himself as different demigod to perform various departmental activities. Thus, he will maintain the upper planetary system by including the populace to perform Vedic sacrifices. In due course of time, he will also maintain this earthly planet by discharging proper rainfall. This King Prithu will be as powerful as the sun god, and just as the sun god equally distributes his sunshine to everyone, King Prithu will distribute his mercy equally. Similarly, just as the sun god evaporates water from 8 months and during the rainy season returns it profusely, this king will also exact taxes from the citizen and return the monies in times of need. This King Prithu will be very, very kind to all citizens, even though a poor person may trample over the king's head by violating the rules and regulation. The king, out of his causeless mercy, will be forgetful and forgiving. As a protector of the world, he will be as tolerant as the earth itself. When there is no rainfall and the citizens are in great danger due to scarcity of water, this royal personality of Godhead will be able to supply rains exactly like the heavenly King Indra. Thus, he will very easily be able to protect the citizens from drought. This King Prithu Maharaja, by virtue of his affectionate glances and beautiful moon-like face, which is always smiling with great affection for the citizens, will enhance everyone's peaceful life. The reciter continued, no one will be able to understand the policies the king will follow. His activities will also be very confidential and will not be possible for anyone to know how he will make in every activity successful. His treasury will always remain unknown to everyone. He will be the reservoir of unlimited glories and good qualities, and his position will be maintained as covered as Varuna, the deity of seas, is covered all around by water. King Prithu was born of the dead body of King Veena, as fire is produced from Arani wood. Thus, King Prithu will always remain just like fire, and his enemies will not be able to approach him. Indeed, he will be unbearable to his enemies, for although staying very near him, they will never be able to approach him, but will have to remain as if far away. No one will be able to overcome the strength of King Prithu. King Prithu will be able to see all the internal and external activities of every one of his citizens. Still, no one will be able to know his system of espionage. I may pronounce it wrong, espionage. And he himself will remain neutral regarding all matters of glorification or vilification paid to him. He will be exactly like air, the life force within the body, which is exhibited internally and externally, but is always neutral to all affairs. Since this king will always remain on the path of piety, he will be neutral to both his son and the son of his enemy. If the son of his enemy is not punishable, he will not punish him. But if his own son is punishable, he will immediately punish him. Just as the sun god expands his shining rays up to the Arctic region without impedance, the influence of King Prithu will cover all tract of land up to the Arctic region and will remain undisturbed as long as he lives. This king will please everyone by practical activities, and all of his citizens will remain very satisfied. Because of this, the citizen will take great satisfaction accepting him as their ruling king. The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the Brahmanical culture and will render all services to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. The king respects all women as if they were his own mother, and He will treat his own wife as the other half of his body. He will be just like an affectionate father to his citizen, and he will treat himself as the most obedient servant of the devotees who always preach the glories of Lord. The king will consider all embodied living entities as dear as his own self, and he will always be increasing the pleasure of his friend. He will immediately associate with liberated person, and he will be chastising he will be a chastising hand to all impious persons.
Yeah, he will be intimately associated. He will
intimately associate with liberated person, and he will be a chastising hand to all impious person. This king is the master of 3 worlds, and he is directly empowered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is without change, and he is an incarnation of the Supreme known as Shaktyavyasha Avatara. Being a liberated soul and completely learned, he sees all material varieties as meaningless because their basic principle is nescience. This king, being uniquely powerful and heroic, will have no competitor. He will travel around the globe on his victorious chariot, holding his invincible bow in his hand and appearing exactly like the sun, which rotates in its own orbit from the south. When the king travels all over the world, other kings, as well as the demigods, will offer him all kinds of presentation. Their queens will also consider him the original king, who carries in his hand the emblems of club and disc, and will sing of his fame, for he will be as reputable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This king is protector of citizen, is an extraordinary king, and is equal to the Prajapati demigods. For the living facility of all citizens, he will milk the earth, which is like a cow. Not only that, but he will level the surface of the earth with the pointed end of his bow, breaking all the hills exactly as King Indra, the heavenly king, breaks mountains with his powerful thunderbolt. When the lion travels in the forest with his tail turned upward, all menial animals hide themselves. Similarly, when King Prithu will travel over his kingdom and vibrate the string of his bow, which is made of the horns of goats and bulls, and is irresistible in battle, all demoniac rogues and thieves will hide themselves in all directions. At the source of the river Saraswati, this king will perform 100 sacrifices known as Ashwamedha. In the course of last sacrifice, the heavenly king Indra will steal the sacrificial horse. This king Prithu will meet Sanat Kumara, one of the 4 Kumaras, in the gardens of his palace compound. The king will worship him with devotion and will be fortunate to receive instruction by which one can enjoy transcendental bliss. In this way, when the chivalrous activities of King Prithu come to be known to the people in general, King Prithu will always hear about himself and his uniquely powerful activities. No one will be able to disobey the orders of Prithu Maharaja, after conquering the world, he will completely eradicate the threefold miseries of citizens. Then he will be recognized all over the world. At that time, both of the Suras and the Asuras will undoubtedly glorify his magnanimous activities. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for reading. Hope you also enjoyed.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything that inspired you in all these verses?
I may have to revise all these things with low speed and then get the exact meaning of all the verses. But I surely received the the summary of all these verses, the greatness of King Prithus and how he uh, uh, controlled his kingdom, conquered the earth, and did all the good deeds.
Yeah, great. Let's go through this in further from what Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in the purports, and definitely then what you aspire will be fulfilled, hopefully. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayambhupa Kathamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakha Anvitamscha Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Vanchakalpatarabhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Hari Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Narayana Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayam Udhirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are discussing about the glories of King Prithu Maharaj. Prithu Maharaj. Who is he? If we go back few chapters, then we go through this where sages are very eager to know the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. And then in his lineage, we come across um, uh, King Utkala, and then we come across King Vatsara, and then we come across King Anga, and then Vena, and then Prithu. Yeah, so this is the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj. So definitely, Prithu Maharaj is not an ordinary person. He is indeed the personality of Godhead. And this is what we come to hear, understand by the glories that are offered by the sages. They are present there. So Maitreya Rishi continued. He started saying, while King Prithu thus spoke, what did he speak? What did he speak is very, very important for our life. Very, very important. If we want to be very happy, if we want to make others happy, if we want everyone be happy, this is very important principle that we should not look after if for some praise. So if we see the last verses of the previous chapter is about um, when his people were glorifying him, when everyone were glorifying the great sages who were assembled there, because they have cursed Vena, and when Vena was cursed to death, he died, and afterwards, the whole country was kingless, and a kingdom without king is a free ground for thieves and rogues to prevail, and that caused great disturbances. And the sages were thinking, oh, we wanted to protect the people from the from ill what do you call illoyal or disloyal king. But somehow now no king means the dark web, or the dark world has become uh, got full freedom in the daylight. They are doing all disturbances. So then they churned the thighs, and Nishat Raj, he came. Um, and then that's not what they want. But actually, why did that come? Because Vena is married to Vinita, who is the granddaughter of Mrityu. So those ill effects are gone. And then again, the churning of the arms, where two wonderful personalities appeared. One is Prithu and other is Archi. As soon as they saw two, then they understood that the divine couple, Narayan and Lakshmi Devi, have appeared, and the sages started glorifying. Uh, and we understand in the next verses what does it all mean, glorification, which actually Prithu Maharaj simply stopped. He said, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? I am um, I am not the object of praise. Mm. Your words shouldn't go in vain. So don't waste your time, don't waste your energy, don't even waste your words. Yeah, in a glorification, what is done is just not like someone is plowing a field, someone is not um, uh, doing hardships. It's just words. But even that, Prithu Maharaj said, your word shouldn't go in vain, so don't glorify me. So he was very much uh, saying that I haven't displayed what all the qualities that you're mentioning, that I am that. You're comparing with demigods like Shiva, like Durga, like all um, uh, the gifts that all have given. By seeing that, you're thinking that I am great. Mm. Or then, um, so if at all you want to glorify, because of course people are it's not like, okay, if the king is saying stop, then the glorification shouldn't stop, but rather the king is saying in future, in future, when I exhibit all these qualities in my absence, you can glorify me. Mm. This is what is humility. Humility is that we understand that I am the servant of the Lord. Of course, being a king and the Lord Himself, He is also demonstrating that we should not hanker for praise. If we are hankering for praise, yeah, sometimes there might be praise, sometimes there might be chastisement, sometimes there might be, yeah, if you have seen what is this called? Astrological charts, right? Every year, there is this says that this Rashi will have so many glorifications, so many insults. Yeah. Uh, then we say, oh, I am safe, I am not safe, all these things. Now, when we understand our position, I am a servant, we don't really see that, okay, what does, we are not influenced by that. So King is saying that if you see in future, I am really exhibiting these qualities that you have, um, then you can praise, but not in presence of me. Offer your praise. Rather, best thing is offer. Yeah, you have such a nice, great uh, abilities. So why don't you offer all your prayers to the Lord? Hmm? After all, uh, the gentle should offer prayers to the Lord and not to low human like me. And praise, what you are now doing is like insulting me because I have not done anything, but you're just saying it's as if like it's not true. And even it appears like praising is like a criticizing. So even if you see, not only insulting, saintly, modest, and magnanimous persons do not like uh, to hear themselves praised. So if you are praising, then it's actually you're chastising me for not doing it. I am not famous now. So right now, I am not very famous for my personal activities. Therefore, how can I engage? I could engage you in praising me for these activities. This is what the chapter ended there. And now here we see that Maitreya Rishi is saying, while King Prithu said that the humility of his nectar speech pleased, it even pleased more the reciters, and they were even further. They were saying, how can we not glorify such a great person who is genuinely such humble, mm, who has such a nice, and who is, um, then again they continue to praise, and this whole chapter is all about that praise. Mm. So let's understand that from the words of the sages, the glories of King Prithu. I really like when Omkareshwar Prabhu was saying, okay, I'm very eager to know the glories of King Prithu. Hmm. And here, this is one snippet of his glories. Today we get the chance. Hmm. So here we understand that the reciters like Suta and Magadha and Vandi understood that King Prithu was incarnation of the Lord. They could understand this by instructions given by great sages and learned brahmanas. This is not just a concoction that, oh, this king, if I glorify him, then no, it's my duty. After all, I am a citizen, so I should glorify the king. That's why I want to find very poetic way of glorifying him. No, the glorifications that are offered here are genuine and truthful glorifications. Why? Because the Lord himself incarnated. What is the proof that Lord has incarnated? That is what is mentioned in the purport, where it says that as stated by Narottam Das Thakur, Sadhu, Shastra and Guru, one has to test all spiritual matters according to the instructions of saintly persons, scriptures, and spiritual masters. So this is very, very important for us that we understand that uh, the Lord is we understand here that we don't want to accept things as out of blind faith or emotion or sentiment or our own inexperienced experience. No, we have to accept things, spiritual matters through sadhu, shastra, and guru. Uh, and then here the spiritual master is one who follows the instructions of his predecessors who are sadhus. Hmm. Um, Although the king denied such praise because he was not at the time exhibiting his godly qualities, the reciters did not stop praising him. Hmm. The king denied. He said, no, don't do it. But rather, they were very pleased with the king, and they were um, seeing was so humble and delightful in his dealings with the devotees that made them very happy. Hmm. So, thus, we have to learn from the Lord or His incarnation how to become gentle and humble. So, if at all we want to be successful in our life, two qualities are very important: to be very, very gentle and humble. Usually, in humble, yeah, we think, oh, automatically gentle is there. No, gentleness is very important. Humbleness is not to accept that I am the master, I am the servant, but in dealing again, if we add this gentleness, it's not the king has punished the reciters. No, the king has gently explained his position and the what his message is to. Mm. So the king behavior is was very pleasing to the reciters. If we want to please others, we may ask, why should I please others? Yeah, because we are servant of others, and then we have to definitely please others. And consequently, the reciters continued their praise and even foretold the king's future activities. uh, and then the reciters, they started saying, king, you are a direct incarnation of the Lord, of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, and by his causeless mercy you have descended to earth. And now they're saying, therefore it is not possible for us to actually glorify your exalted activities. You are so great, you are unlimited, and it's not at all possible for us to glorify. Although you have appeared through the body of King Vena, even great orators and speakers like Lord Brahma and other demigods cannot exactly describe the glories, activities of your lordship. So here, in the text, it is mentioned Mayaya. Mayaya descended by your Maya. So, and this Maya, we know there are two kinds of Mayas. One is Mahamaya and one is Yoga Maya. Mahamaya means illusory energy, and Yoga Maya is his internal, Lord's internal potency. Hmm? And both are Lord's. And other day, someone was asking, is Mahamaya material? No, it is spiritual because it is in connection with the Supreme Lord. So it is indeed his energy. And Lord employs his energy for different purposes, in different ways. And here, Maya, Prabhupada writes in the purport that Mayavad philosophers, they see that Maya as falseness. But actually, here we understand when this Maya, by the cause of Maya, what does it mean is causeless mercy. The meaning, however, there is another meaning of Maya, that is causeless mercy. Huh? And this is internal potency. And we come across in different occasions of different purports. And Prabhupada brings up in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita that the Lord appears through his internal potency, which is called Atma Maya. So, if we understand, this is very important for us to know, to accept an incarnation is an authentic incarnation. Although uh, uh, born out of so-called dead body of King Vena, we see that a dead life comes from life, isn't it? And here a dead matter, who is the dead body of King Vena, from that Lord appeared. And this is not magic. Mm. This is not illusion, but this is sheer potency of the Lord, which is uh, here referred as Atma Maya, just like Matsya Avatar. Mm. Sometimes he appears as fish incarnation or boar incarnation. Thus, Lord is completely free and independent to appear anywhere and everywhere by his internal potency. And how great it is that it is described that Ananta Sesh, he is not able to glorify with his unlimited mouths about all the incarnations of the Lord. And now the topic comes, how is it possible for the even demigods to glorify? It's not possible by glorifying. But then there is this question. So here the reciters are saying that we are inadequate to speak about King Prithu. Hmm. By glorifying the Lord with exalted verses, one becomes purified. This is very, very, very important. Uh, why? Because we are accepting supremacy of other person. Here, when we are glorifying the Lord, and not only Lord and his devotees, what is happening is by this process, what we are doing is we are actually purifying ourselves. Although we are unable to offer prayers to the Lord in an adequate fashion, our duty is to make the attempt in order to purify ourselves. So we may think that no, from childhood I am invert. What is it called? Not invert, introvert. I don't know how to talk with people. I don't know how. No, I don't even have words. No, I didn't study well like great scholars. I don't have that selected words. I don't have the art of poetry. I don't have that. I don't have this. I am not intelligent. No, just we unable. Here the rishis are saying that we are unable to offer prayers to the Lord in adequate fashion, but our duty is to make the attempt to uh, do it in order to purify ourselves. It is not that we should stop our glorification because demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva cannot adequately glorify. So when they are not able to glorify, oh, what is our capacity? Let me not commit offense. Let me not do something. No, rather, as stated by Prahlad Maharaj, everyone should glorify the Lord according to his own ability. If we are serious and sincere devotees, then the Lord will give us the intelligence to offer prayers. So the key to able to get the ability, just if you remember in the pastimes of Dhruva Maharaj, hmm, Dhruva, he was a child, a boy, uh, but then how did he glorify the Lord? Hmm. He was blessed by the touch of the lotus flower from by Lord Vishnu. Just as soon as that happened, then everything, so he's empowered. So if we are sincere and if we really want to glorify, spend few minutes. We don't have to like, okay, sit a long time. If we just spend few minutes, we can understand how great is the Lord. Even in our own personal experiences, how great the Lord is, that everything is manifesting and happening by the divine arrangement of the Lord. Then automatically we can appreciate it and praise the Lord, and the Lord is pleased, and He gives us the ability to um, offer such wonderful prayers. And then although we are unable to glorify adequately, we nonetheless have a transcendental taste for glorifying your activity. This is what the sages are saying, and this is the reciters they are saying, and this is very important for us. Yeah, if we have taste, we make space. Just like, okay, if I have, if my favorite sweet is served even in the end, still I make some space for it. If I like something, I make space for it. And this liking of glorifying others is yeah, very important. Otherwise, what we do is we usually are having a taste of self glorification, prajalpa. Because of this, what is happening is we are not able to hear the glories of others. And it can even go to an extent that if someone is glorifying others in presence of me, I may even envy the other person who is being glorified. Oh, how is that? How this, like Shishupal, he couldn't bear that Krishna is um, glorified for his greatness and honored for his greatness. Shishupal could not tolerate. So it is very important that we should develop such a taste for glorifying the Lord and his activities. Otherwise, when we cannot appreciate the Lord's glories and glories of his devotees, then what can happen is that we get affected by the influence of material energy and develop pride, um, qualities like envy and all these things. So the reciters say, we shall try to glorify you according to the instructions received from authoritative sages and scholars. Whatever we speak is always inadequate and very insignificant. Uh, so now the question become, okay, glorifying is very important, but how do I glorify? I'm not intelligent. I don't have skills. Hmm. The solution here is by reading scriptures. In Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we have abundant treasure of how various personalities have glorified the Supreme Lord and his devotees. So we take from here inspiration. Yeah, we may even, yeah, there are also some on special months and special occasions, people read how the Lord is glorified by the demigods. Yeah. Dear King, because you are a direct incarnation of the Supreme Lord, all your activities are liberal and even ever laudable. So here it says that um, the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said very importantly that we may think that, oh, what is our duty? How can I do my duty? Huh? The Lord is saying that uh, all his followers to go everywhere and preach the message of Lord Krishna. Hmm? So how? Because we may think that, oh, I cannot go out for book distribution. Oh, I may think, oh no, I am not good for Harinam. I cannot go out. No, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, engage in spreading the message of Krishna. However expert one may be, he can never describe the glories of the Lord. Nonetheless, those engaged in glorifying the activities of the Lord should try to do so as far as possible. Mm. Since this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is uh, essentially coming from what? It's coming from Bhagavad Gita. The preacher's duty is to study Bhagavad Gita as it is, understand by disciplic succession, and explained by great sages and learned devotees. One should speak to the general populace in according to one's predecessors, Sadhu, Shastra, and Guru. So it is not that it's impossible. Oh, I am not fit for it, or I cannot, I don't know. No, I cannot go out and spread this message. No, this simple process is the easiest method by which one can glorify the Lord. By talking about the Lord, yeah, we are not even doing big feats. By just saying the greatness of the Lord, uh, the Lord is satisfied. One can satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead with just a few words. And now, without such devotion, even without devotional service, volumes of books cannot satisfy the Lord. Even though preachers of Krishna consciousness movement may be unable to describe the glories of the Lord, they can nonetheless go everywhere and request people to chant Hare Krishna. So, if we think that, oh, I am not a preacher, I am. Uh, I know a lot, but I don't know art of preaching. Uh, I don't know. Yeah, one can live a life full of Krishna consciousness and become a role model. That example and that exemplifies that glories of the Lord and His devotees. That itself is one. And then here, even sublime, even one need not wait for all those qualities manifesting in ourselves. One can simply chant, ask the people to chant Hare Krishna. Even now, no, I don't know what is the greatness of Hare Krishna mantra. And without knowing, how can I tell? Huh? We don't know the potency of the holy name, but the potency is there. So, if we may not be benefiting, let others benefit. If we did not get a taste of the holy name, let others appreciate. Uh, then let them advance. And by seeing that, we realize these are the realizations we make. Okay, see, he took to the chanting and see how advanced he became in no time. That helps us, inspire us to increase quality of our chanting. So, and then the reciter said, King Prithu is the best among those who are following religious principles. Hmm? And he will also be a great chastiser to irreligious atheists. And there are a lot of purports in this chapter which tells how an ideal government should run, should work. And yeah, this is not a Ethiopian or phonetic way of presenting. No, this is what was done in those days or ages. The duty of the king or the head of the government is described, yeah, in this. It is the duty of the governmental head to see that people strictly follow a religious life. In today's world, what is happening in the name of in the name of secular, that we are open for all schools of thoughts, all religions. There is also a religion given space. That's why we see these communistic ideologies or atheistic thoughts. Rather than Brahmavads, all kind of other things are also encouraged. What is happening? And in that way, um, mm, the government head remains neutral and allows people to engage in all sorts of irreligious activities. The government is thinking, oh, if I say something, am I not partial? If I say something, am I not offending? So in that confusion, religious principles also has been given a great space and importance, or actually not even importance, a neutral approach, unbiased, uh, what is it, impartial way through which religion is also predominating. In such a state, people cannot be happy despite all economic development. Um, We are in which part of the world? We are in Germany, where we see that, okay, how we think that, okay, people should be very happy because it's quite advanced. All facilities are just at a push of a button. So everything is there. But why people are not happy? How can you say people are not happy? Yeah, we see people are not happy because there are no, what do you call, successful relationships that are flourishing. uh, and where there is no relationship, which means there is no love, and where there is no love, there cannot be happiness. So the signs of actually how to be happy itself is missing. Remaining everything is built. Just imagine a wonderful castle is built, but no one is living. What is the use? The purpose is not met. So a society is advancing, but advancement is not causing happiness. Why? Because a relationship is not built. No, once upon a time. No, let's talk about now. Hmm. So this is what is happening, and in this age of Kali, there are no pious kings. And then Prabhupada is mentioning, instead rogues and thieves are elected to head the government. But how can the people be happy without religion or God consciousness? It's very important. The uh, how can people be happy? Hmm? What is happening is that all these so-called politicians who come to rule, what do they do? They exact taxes on the citizens, and uh, what is the purpose of collecting taxes? Huh? What is the purpose of this car and all this? Is to enjoy, uh, to facilitate your own system for your own pleasure rather for serving the people. Taxes are, I will come across that in later verses. The purpose is to do what? Collecting taxes is to serve people, to serve citizens. But here, what is happening is, hmm, in future, people will be so much harassed that Bhagavatam is saying they will flee from their homes and countries and take shelter of forest. This is already happening. People are escaping. Yeah? We think, oh, if I am in the city, I have to pay municipal tax, if I have to pay road tax, I have to do all this kind. Rather, how nice if I'm in the forest, there is no tax, right? Hmm. So people run away. However, in Kali Yuga, democratic government can be captured by Krishna conscious people. If this can be done, the general populace can be made very happy. So the secret that people can be made happy is only one way. If uh, the government can be captured by Krishna conscious people. uh, So-called democracy can be used, yeah, for the welfare, not monarchical. Oh no, no, not kings are exploiting. No, let's talk democratic, for the people, by the people, and all those things. But very importantly, right people should be elected, and right people should be actually even selected such a way that they can take over, they can establish a right country based on the right principles that are established by the Lord. Why? After all, this king or the authority or the ministers, who are they? They are representatives of the Lord. Huh? How can they be representatives of the Lord when they follow the message of the Lord? So, in this way, the king alone in his own body will be able to, in due course of time, to maintain all living entities and keep them in a pleasant condition by manifesting himself as different demigods. The Lord himself will expand. Hmm. The king is the representative of the Lord. Hmm. So, when an incarnation of God descends to this planet, demigods like sun god, moon god, or heaven all will join, and that way everything is flourished. The protection of the country is achieved. Because in Bhagavad Gita it is said, how does the rain come? Annad bhavati bhutani parjannad anna sambhava yagnad bhavati parjanyo yagna karma samudbhava. So all the activities are performed. If they are done properly, the rain falls. But in Kali Yuga, in so-called secular states, yeah, the executive branch of government is in charge of so-called kings. and presidents who are all fools and rascals, ignorant of intricacies of nature's causes. They think that okay, rain can come if some acid is thrown into the sky. That can be done. This can be done. No, they understand. They don't understand the secret is by performing yajna. Such rascals simply make various plans which always fail, and the people subsequently suffer disturbances. To counteract this situation, the Shastras, what are they saying? Harer Nama, Harer Nama eva kevalam kalau nasti eva gatir anyata. So, in order to counteract this unfortunate situation in government, the general populace is advised to chant Hare Krishna mantra. So, that's what is said. And then, very important, verse number 6, in case if you are opening yourself. Um, verse number 6 is telling uh, that this king Prithu will be as powerful as sun god, and uh, just as sun god equally distributes his sunshine to everyone, King Prithu will distribute his mercy equally. This is like no partiality. This is one quality. And then similarly, just as a sun god evaporates water for 8 months, hmm, during the rainy season, and remaining time, what is he doing? What is it doing profusely? Uh, Returns it back to the earth. Is not meant for sense gratification of the administrative heads. It is not that, okay, let us exercise taxes, oh, 10%, 7%, 20%, 30%. What is this, all these percents? Tax revenues should be distributed to the citizens in times of need. What is happening in the collection of taxes? We think, oh, tomorrow there might be a war. When the war comes, we need protection. Let us establish strong military defense system. For that, where do we get money? From the people. Why should we take money from the people? Oh, no, after all, we are protecting the people. That's why we should take money. Hmm. Rather, the government should see how they can even avoid such a war. And even if there is a war, how to take care. And when, okay, you take so much taxes, how to protect the people when there is a need of a drought or a, yeah, even situations, a famine or a flood. Tax revenue should never be distributed among government servants in the form of salaries or bonuses, allowances. In Kali Yuga, however, the position of citizens is very horrible because taxes are exacted in so many forms and are spent for personal comforts of the administrators. And this is one part. And now this, the example of sun is very in this verse is very appropriate. Sun is uh, many million miles away from the earth, and although the sun does not actually touch the earth, it manages to distribute land all over the planet by exacting water from the oceans and seas. And it also manages to make that land fertile by distributing water during the rainy season. As an ideal king, Prithu Maharaj would execute all this business in the village and state as expertly as the sun. Then this king will be very, very kind to all citizens. How? It's mentioned. Even though a poor person may trample over king's head by violating the rules and regulations, the king, out of his causeless mercy, will be forgetful and forgiving. These are two qualities. Um, so this comes out of kindness mm, towards his pupil. So here it is said, mm, the king is compared to planet Earth here, where on planet Earth, even though we are trampling, we are doing all kinds of nonsense, still Mother Earth is very, very kind. Uh, it still gives food to people by producing grains, fruits, vegetables. So king here is compared to earthly planet. Uh, and then it is the duty of the king to look after the comforts of the citizen even at the cost of his personal convenience. If there is inconvenience, still it's okay, but still king should take care. However, in Kali Yuga, for a Kali Yuga, the kings and heads of the state enjoy life at the cost of taxes exerted from the citizens. So everything taxes are taken, and then who is enjoying? Mm, the administration class. Such unfair taxation makes the people dishonest, and the people try to hide their income in so many ways. And then I think there will be a later verse. So in that way, what is happening? What is happening? People don't want to pay taxes. People don't want to pay taxes. Why? Because they do not have trust that these taxes, what they are paying, is indeed helpful for them later. Yeah, which means you are very hard, and then you are paying taxes. Huh. People may say, no, after all, a company is running because the government is giving permission. If government doesn't give permission, the company wouldn't run. And when company wouldn't run, then you will not earn. Because the government is allowing the companies to run, that's why you're paying taxes for that, for whatever you're earning, making benefit from it. Huh? A nice system, yeah, the government is doing. But how much amount is taken by the government and how much you are getting, that should be genuinely proportionate. And then everything will collapse and there will be chaos and disturbance all over the state. That's what we are seeing. If you see any Rajya Sabha, um, Lok Sabha, what do you call this? Baitak, hmm, meetings, then the speaker is tired, calming them, calm down. They are also violent, get violent and attack. And then when there is no rainfall and the citizens are in great danger due to scarcity of water, this royal lord will be able to supply rain exactly like the heavenly king Indra. So here he is compared to Indra, and we know the Govardhan Leela. The Lord can do anything. Yeah. If situations change such a way that the people have to suffer, no, Lord will not tolerate. He immediately manifests. Yeah, it is, and then here it's already we see that King Prithu, uh, when time comes, King Prithu managed to counteract the deficiencies by the virtue of his godly powers. So with his powers, just like Krishna in Vrindavan has done, uh, just with his powers, he manifests that his people are happy. So this king, anyway, so there are other nice um, glorifications that reciters offered, and they continued that how um, this Indra is supplying rains, right? So the Lord, Prithu Maharaj also supply rain when there is no rain, and Chandra, uh, um, who pleases the world with his cooling rays, which is very nice, right? And Prithu Maharaj will please the world with his affectionate glances and charming smiles. Just that is a here there is one word upagupta vitta means not noticed. Mm. Um, so this verse here it's saying that his treasury will always remain unknown to everyone. A king is hiding what he has. Uh, uh, he will be the reservoir of unlimited glories and good qualities, and his position will be maintained and covered, uh, just as Varuna is covered all around by water. And in the purport, Prabhupada is saying, uh, King Prithu's path of diplomacy was very grave. Mm. His success was made possible because he was a reservoir of unlimited glorified qualities. The word Upagupta Vitta is very significant in this verse. It indicates that no one would know the exact extent of the riches that King Prithu would confidentially keep. And in this purport, Prabhupada also gives us what we should do. The idea is that not only the king but everyone should keep his hard-earned money confidential and secretly, so that in due course of time the money can be spent for good practical purposes. In Kali Yuga, however, the king or government has no well protected treasury, and the only means of circulation is currency, notes made of paper. Mm. Because of this, yeah. So how do we know how rich is a country? Based on the treasure that it has, that is calculated and converted, or equivalent currency is made of it. You know, one cannot mint as many notes as you want. It all depends how much is the worth of the country. Thus, in times of distress, the government artificially inflates the currency by simply printing papers, and this artificially raises the prices of commodities, and the general condition of the citizen become very precarious. The people should also keep their individual earnings a secret. Hmm? There is no fault in such dealings. The main point is that everyone should be trained in the system of Varnashram system so that the money is spent only for good causes and nothing else. So one should be, which what does this mean is one should carefully protect his money, funds. Just imagine if you say, hey, I have money, people will come and rob, or people will say, hey, you have to pay taxes, so many things. But it is said that we should carefully protect our funds so that when the time comes, we can use them for the right service. So, and then comes 13th. Since the king, he will always remain on the path of piety. He will be neutral to both his son and the son of his enemy. If the son of his enemy is not punishable, he will not punish him. But if his own son is punishable, he will immediately punish. This is impartial ruler, how one should. Hmm. Just as the sun god expands his shining rays without impedance, the influence of King Prithu will cover all tracts of land and will remain undisturbed as long as he lives. And what is the conclusion? The conclusion is that the sunshine and the sun god cannot be separated, nor could King Prithu and his ruling can be separated. His rule over everyone would continue without disturbance. Thus, King could not be separated from his ruling power. Mm. It's not like, okay, there is opposition party, there is a ruling party, and there is always a ding dong swing, right? Oh, now you rule, I rule for some time, I make money, you rule for some time, you make money. In that way, we can always make money for generations to live. Mm. This king will please everyone by his practical activities, and all his citizens will remain very satisfied. Because of this, citizens will take great satisfaction in accepting him as their ruling king. If the people are satisfied, they will again vote or appreciate, right? So the king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. Uh, this, and then it says, he will be a lover of whom? Lover of the Brahmanical culture. Uh, this is very important. The king should always protect Brahmanical culture. Why? Because this culture is an intellectual culture. This culture is the one who are godly, who really want to attain the success of freedom from all this material entanglement. And so Brahmanical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. The word Vruddha Sevaka, this Vruddha Sevaka, Vruddha means what? Old. And this Vruddha has two meanings. Prabhupada writes, there are two kinds of old men. One is old by age and another is old by knowledge. This Sanskrit word indicates that one can be older by advancement of knowledge. And King Prithu was very respectful to the Brahmanas and he protected them. He also protected persons advanced in age. uh, Whatever the king would decide to do, no one would be able to stop. This is what he is, Drida Sankalpa, Drida Vrata. The king will respect all the women as if they were his own mother, and will treat his own wife as the other half of his body. He will be just like an affectionate father to his citizens and he will treat himself as the most obedient servant of the devotee, who always preach the glories of the Lord. So here we understand that education, because Chanakya Pandit says, what is mm, mm, um, right behavior, what is right character is a learned man treats all women except his wife as his mother, looks on others' property as garbage in the street, and treats others as he would treat his own self. These are the symptoms of a learned person described by Chanakya Pandit. This should be standard for education. Education does not mean having academic degrees only. One should execute what he has learned in his personal life. And this is very important. The word Vadinam, uh, Brahmavadi refers to the devotees of the Lord. So the king always want to be with them. Because King Prithu followed this principle, he is highly praised. Then further, the king will consider all his living entities as dear as his own self, and he will always be increasing the pleasure of his friends. So when we are talking about living entities, the king is not king of only humans. The king is king of all the living entities. Uh, so all of these were treated by the king the same way he would treat himself. He will intimately associate with liberated persons and will be chastising hand to all impious persons. Mm. So in that way, um, the king is very careful. But in this age, what is happening? Uh, we think people means only living entities means only we. Animals are not taken care. The governments, they are making business out of meat eating, meat eaters. So mm, the government may say, "Oh no, 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 I am a vegetarian." But what about all the allowances that are given? Most of them are meat eaters, and even though they may not be meat eaters and may pose themselves be very religious and pious, they still allow cow slaughter within their states. Such sinful heads of the state cannot actually be popular at any time. Mm. And then the reciters offered a Sakshat Bhagavan. So this is kind of saying, hey, what all glorifications are still nothing. You are uh, Sakshat Bhagavan, the king. And then they said, when king travels all over the world, other kings as well as demigods will offer him all kinds of presentations. Their queens will also consider him the original king, who carries in his hands what are they? The emblems of club, disc, and will sing of his fame, for he will be as reputable as the Supreme Lord. Hmm. So Prithu Maharaj was actually carrying with him the reputation of the Supreme Lord because he was actually reigning over the world in that capacity. And then here, then there is a very nice mention that the reciters are saying, when the lion travels in the forest with its tail turned upward, all the menial animals hide themselves. Similarly, when King Prithu will travel over his kingdom and vibrate the string of his bow, which is made of the horns of goats and bulls and is irresistible in battle, all demonic rogues and thieves will hide themselves in all directions. In this purport, Prabhupada is mentioning that um, it is very appropriate to compare a powerful king like Prithu to a lion. Mm. In India, Kshatriya kings are still called as Singh, which means lion. We have heard Sinha, yeah, Shatrugna Sinha, or there is a um, class, Kshatriya class, and unless rogues, thieves, and other demonic people in the state are afraid of uh, executive head who rules the kingdom with a strong hand, there cannot be peace or prosperity in the state. Thus, it is most regrettable when a woman becomes the executive head instead of a lion-like king. This is what Prabhupada strongly says. Yeah, today in the name of equality, we see that women should be empowered and should be become the head. Mm, mm. So Prabhupada is saying it is most regrettable when a woman becomes executive head instead of a lion-like king. Ideally, this job of administration of ruling is for whom? For king. Um, if, of course, such a king is lion-like and very daring and dashing, and then such a king should rule. Otherwise, mm, it's a regrettable situation. In such situation, the people are considered very, very unfortunate. And then the reciters further say what happens. At the source of river Saraswati, this king will perform this is future, what's happening. 100 sacrifices known as Ashwamedha. In the course of last sacrifice, the heavenly king will steal the sacrificial horse. This king will meet Sanat Kumar in the garden of his palace. The king will worship him with devotion and will be fortunate to receive instructions by which one can enjoy transcendental bliss. Hare Krishna. Am I back?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So glitch happened in time. So that's the glories of Prithu Maharaj. Hmm. I hope that gives us a very good opportunity to understand what it means to head up for managerial role. Hmm. What does it mean to be a king? Uh, who is in focus, and the greatness of King Prithu. Anything anyone would like to add, share? Any questions? No questions? Not so interesting topic, or yeah, no questions. Then have a nice weekend. Enjoy. It's nice. We'll discuss more about what are the activities that Pritamara has performed. Uh, how can such a glorious person can be very angry, and what did he do? Those things we'll discuss upcoming session. पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय, अंधकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
हरे
Krishna.
कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
हरे कृष्ण।